Welcome to the Bosun on Deck podcast. I'm Carlo. That's Ash. Welcome to the On Deck podcast brought to you by the Bosun. I'm Carlo.
I'm Ash.
And I'm Michael. So, let's talk about parasocial relationships. Ash, can you tell us more about it?
So, from my understanding of the definition, I think a parasocial relationship is similar to a one-sided, one unrequited love.
Oh.
But in this instance, it's kind of like not necessarily love, but like you have an appreciation for this person. You have this sort of pseudo relationship with this person, but they kind of don't even know that you exist. So it's one-sided from existence as itself.
So it's like an illusion that you have a relationship with a person, basically.
What's it?
Huh.
Yeah. It's sort of like you feel as if there's something going on, but really, there's nothing. And I feel like it happens a lot of the time because a lot of people are lonely, right? You see a lot of this like happening throughout the pandemic, and a lot of people are kind of trapped in their own homes. They don't have anywhere else to go to but the internet. And what do you find on the internet? Content creators who are able to cater to their needs for relationships. So that sort of thing is, I think, sort of the reason behind why it's so prevalent today.
Yeah, and actually, just a quick fact check on that. Well, in psychology, we're innately caused to be social beings, right? And so, the lack of relationships that we have, the lack of relationships that we cater to in our real lives, are supplemented by the ones that we find on social media. So, the connection we have with our influencers, that fake connection that we make up in our own heads, like, oh, we feel more connected to this person because we know how they function, we know how their day, we know how a day in their life goes, etc., etc. It's sort of like that. It's a human's need, like Michael said. It's something about the loneliness.
Oh yeah.
It's making up for what you lack.
You know what, Carlo? I think that's a great point. Because to quote my course in UA&P, Political Economy, shout out UA&P, the man is both a social and political animal. So that means that we gotta strive to have, express our citizenship and express our own selves as a person. We wanna do things with other people and we wanna socialize, we wanna interact, we wanna cultivate relationships. And in this world where there's like social media where you can see people around but they don't necessarily see you, this sort of parasocial relationship not only extends to like the celebrities and influencers you mentioned, but even politicians
So it's becoming more relevant because
of the internet,
of the internet.
the social media, the globalizing world.
Right. But like, see, like a lot of people think that that's a problem, right? Like I feel like a lot of people are going to think and they're going to watch some content, be able to connect, and suddenly people are thinking, oh, now that's a problem, right? Because it's just one-sided communication, no actual feedback from the actual content creator. But is it really that much of a problem? Like, I'm thinking here, what if like the internet is just growing, it's just moving towards something else? Maybe, I don't know, maybe one-way communication could actually be
Yeah, but
beneficial.
the thing is, it's a problem because people use this parasocial relationship, use this relationship to use it as a replacement, and they fail to connect with the people that are actually in front of them. Just look up from their phones, and they fail to do that because they're already satisfied with the parasocial relationship that they have online and don't want to really connect with anyone else that they're actually in contact with.
Yeah,
So it becomes a problem when it becomes abuse, essentially.
yeah.
But I get your point. Like sometimes some people are
Yeah.
within your reach aren't the ones that you necessarily want to connect with.
Yeah, I feel like although that's like a viable point, I feel like there's like this loneliness epidemic. A lot of people are saying male loneliness epidemic. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's just a loneliness epidemic in general because people are being more. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but people are being more confined to like using social media and using the internet as their means of social interaction, rather than going out and the overly used term touching grass or talking to their friends.
Oh yeah, definitely. It should never be a substitute. I totally agree with that. I think that's where it actually becomes super harmful. Is there a way then that you feel like parasocial relationships can be used for good? What do you guys think?
Perhaps my take on it would be picking up on the positive influences, picking up on the positive habits. Perhaps maybe just having a good meal plan, having a good diet, following your influencer because they're a health influencer, something like that. Taking the positive and implementing it into your life for a positive impact. Like, that makes sense to me. But perhaps the negative would be, what do you think?
I feel like the negative right now is that for a long time now, not just like currently recently, it's just that it's more pronounced now, is that we sort of create this parasocial relationships with celebrities, influencers, politicians, and we have to like actually step back and understand these people, they don't know about us. It's not necessarily that they don't care about us, but they don't know about us. So we shouldn't put our like expectations on them, because you see nowadays like certain celebrities do something and then somebody feels like they're betrayed, they're attacked. Why would you do this to us? You know, like it's
But it's
to
not
bring
that
up yeah to bring up it's not that deep, bro.
It's not
to
that
bring
deep.
to bring an example, I remember back in the day when Zayn Malik initially left One Direction. Shout out One Direction and Zayn Malik. When they left,
They don't know you, bro.
But they don't know me. They don't know me. No. I'm trying to make this parasocial relationship into a social
Zayn Malik.
relationship.
Okay.
Shout out Zayn Malik. So during that time, when Zayn Malik said that he was leaving One Direction, a bunch of people actually, very unfortunately, and this is not a joke, threatened self-harm. There was this big hashtag around that says "Cut for Zayn," and you would see people hurting themselves and writing Zayn there, saying, "Why would Zayn do this?" So I feel like that's a big harm of it.
Yes. I mean, that's a point wherein it became abusive. It definitely became something that affected everyone's lives to the point wherein it kind of drove it na. It became the driver for their life, not a fuel.
Yeah, it became the substitute, like
Yes.
what you said.
Yep.
The definite harm of that. Yeah. There was this other thing, right? Wherein like a lot of people idolize their very favorite artist and suddenly become all defensive about them. We can talk about Swifties versus fans of Kanye West, for example. Wherein like you could see them fighting over the most like arbitrary things on social media when all the artist is trying to do is just make songs. Where do you feel like artists should draw the line? You know, because it's making this whole environment of people becoming entitled, thinking that the artist has to work for them, which I guess true to a point. We're all going to,
That's our target audience.
yeah, you all have to cater.
Yeah,
Where
but-
do we draw the line?
I guess, that's a little tricky for me.
I feel like, you know, there's this good ongoing debate about it. Can you separate the art from the artist? Well, I feel like there are pros and cons to each side, and I'm like sitting on the fence because I don't know where this line ends and where this line starts. You know, it's
Or
very
different.
selective, yeah. So I would like to ask you guys actually, have you had this situation with parasocial relationships or somebody you looked up to was not who you believed them to be, that you felt betrayed and you didn't know what to do?
Bro, I think for me, when I was 9 years old, it was Dan TTM.
Dan
Oh,
TTM?
I love
good.
that
Oh my
guy.
god.
Like, absolutely
good.
adored each and every single one of his mod showcases on Minecraft. Like, absolutely. But then, when I grew older, he stopped making like, he stopped showcasing mod videos. But of course, like, I wasn't commenting or anything. I didn't even have a YouTube. But like,
Where would you watch his videos?
you play.
Oh,
It was
is
like
old.
a No, the thing is, it was like a pirated YouTube account. It's like a substitute YouTube, but I don't know why I used to watch that. Anyway, point is, yeah, I experienced it in a very small manner, to which it blew out of proportion as to how it should have affected me. But again, I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Don't understand why it's happening to people that are more than 9 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like adults. Some.
yep. Well, how do you think it affects us though?
I feel like the issue, the problem here is with like the tolerance of the person themselves, like their own understanding of, hey, this is not a person. Like, this is the thing that I see with some people. They idolize certain politicians even though they are actually advocating for things that they disagree with, but they've view like most of the things that they say as something that they agree with. So they're making that tiny sacrifice. I feel like you should be able to call them out for it. You should be able to distance yourself and be like, hey, these people don't actually know about us. They don't. It's not necessarily they care, but it's they don't know about us. So therefore, we shouldn't put all of our faith into them. They're not, omnipotent. And also, like, I feel like for the more positive side of things, for people who want to make good use of their parasocial relationships with fans, there's like this famous YouTuber. I think you might know this because you watched Dan TDM, Markiplier, and he said one of the greatest pains for being somebody that famous is that you kind of lose connection with the fans because you can't respond to every single comment. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I think that this whole scenario really kind of just amplifies the need to be able to just become more media literate. You said earlier, like this whole like fence, you're on the fence about the separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
I think that if we put it into content creation, separating the content from the creator, it makes it a little easier, because not everything that they make is going to be them living their life. Not everyone's get ready with me is actually them getting ready with us.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? It might not be a day in their life, but it is a day in their life performed.
Okay.
You guys feel me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess in essence of everything of what we're saying, we're just saying to put it in mediation.
Yeah.
Don't
Definitely.
get too invested in it.
It's not that deep. That relationship is not there.
Our tagline today is
It's
not that deep. Well, there are many good benefits to having a parasocial relationship, where you can take from the good aspects and good habits that influencers may have. But there are also negatives wherein very much so, wherein it affects a large segment of your life, and that's where you should draw the line.
Yes, and again, just to take away again, our takeaway is it has to be done in mediation.
Yeah.
Everything in mediation.
Yeah. Well, guys, I feel like we've talked about a lot. No, Michael, Ash.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I certainly love the fact that we suddenly put in like the artist and the art thing,
Yeah.
and the mediation talk. Super duper important, especially when it comes to media literacy and content creation.
Yeah.
I kind of like how all of these minutes that we just used talking summed up to 3 words. It's not that deep.
That's not 3. It's not.
Four. Sorry, I failed math.
Well,
it's not that deep, bro.
This
Those
has
are
been
4.
fun. The Bosun on Deck podcast. Once again, I am Carlo.
I'm Michael.
I'm Ash.
Bye.
Wait. Can we do that last
No,
part?
that's a good
No, that's
ending.